Hey guys, gals, and MBs, I'm here again with the Erica Synths Steampipe. So we're just going to have an exploration video. We're going to make some patches and we're going to figure it out. It's a fairly complicated synth. One thing I will say that all the controls on it, when you change one, can drastically change how another behaves, especially since you're playing with feedback loops and things like that. So that in mind, I guess let's get started. So we can use the init patch, and that's what we're going to do. So let's go over here and use the default patch. It's 4 in my case because I put some patches before it. So yeah, let's just go ahead and start that. It's a little on the low side for volume. Let's turn off the reverb. Turn up the patch volume a little. And we're going to make a plucked patch. I called it a lute kind of in my last video, but it's more of like a cross between a lute and a dulcimer. It sounds really cool. Maybe even a coda. But so to do that, we want to excite the feedback loop using purely noise. So we want to go over here, change this all the way over from, it'll be on close to DC all the way to noise. Now we won't get too much of a drastic sound because we are using filtering inside the feedback loop. And well, okay, just to make this clear, the filter here only controls the filter of the noise generator. So and that's resonance. I was to the wrong control. Whoops. All right, let's do that. So yeah, that is not controlling the filter. So what we want to do is now we want to actually open up the filter all the way. So let's turn the high pass all the way down and the low pass all the way up. And there is our stereotypical car plus strong algorithm. I'm going to change the filter to a 2-pole. And I'm going to add some resonance. So resonance does not work in the 1-pole mode. And I believe the difference obviously should be a 6 dB per octave versus a 12 dB per octave. And to make this work properly, to have a nice plucked patch, we want to have a very, very short amount of noise. So we don't want to have any attack, no decay, no sustain, and just a little pulse of noise. You'll see. We're going to turn the envelope generator all the way down for that section. And let's turn up the gain so we have a little bit going into the feedback loop. Turn up the patch volume a little too. Now we're done with the envelope section on the top, and we're going to just use the decay and the release on the feedback. Now let's mess with the envelope, or not, sorry, I said envelope again. I have envelope on the brain, so we want to use the filter some more. Shape it so it's a little bit on the twangy side, but not too harsh. We're going to tune this a little bit later, but my suggestion for all patches is do the tuning at the very last once you get the timbre you want, because changing the harmonics and things will drastically change tuning in some cases, and we want to get that out of the way at the very end instead of when we're trying to get the timbre right. All right, let's play with the saturation a little bit. This kind of acts as a control for the stiffness to the resonator cavity. There we go. That's the sound I'm looking for. Let's play with some of the symmetry to that. Around there is nice. Now let's play with the harmonics a little. This is going to change your tuning up a bit. As you can hear there, we want it like pretty high. And now let's back off the feedback, loop, decay, and release again. As you can see, everything kind of plays along with what's happening. A little less harmonics. Now a little bit of filtering back into the feedback loop. Ever so little though, like all the way open, a little bit. I think that's pretty cool. All right, now let's go to the tuning. Tuning is going to be a little off. It's going to go a bit sharp and then back to normal. So what you want to do to get this to tune, go into the tuning mode and obviously change it until the strobe is as steady as possible. It's not going to be possible really with this patch. There, actually, that's not too bad. 0.18. See how it kind of drifts? Yeah. Like when a string is actually being plucked. Let's mess with the filtering a little more. Messing with the structure a little. You know, it's really sounding more like a coda, isn't it? Change the harmonics maybe a little. Oh, I like that a lot. We'll call that a different patch altogether. I kind of like that. Let's stay with that. Let's try the one pole filter. It adds a little, it lets a little more in. I want some resonance in there, so we have to keep it in the 2-pole mode, but it sounds really nice. Let's turn up the reverb now. We want to turn the treble down because this is going to be a little too like that. Now let's turn up the space with the treble down. It'll sound really cool. Maybe a little less space. Let's add some modulation. Make sure the spread is 100%. I'll call that a patch. What do you think? I think it's pretty good. So that's a pretty nice patch. And we can have a little more fun with that. We can take this patch and we can convert it into kind of like a bowed patch. And the only thing we need to do to make that work is let's turn down the reverb. We want to add a little bit of attack to the envelope generator for the noise. It's going to be really on the loud sound there. So let's turn down the gain. Changing this the stiffness of the instrument again. We're going to go into a one pole mode for this one. Right, resonance does nothing in this mode, so. Yeah, so you can just see how drastically just that alone can change everything. We could also change the harmonics. That'll just let odd harmonics in. Yeah, so just a lot of tonal differences just by changing very little things on the synth. So again, that's a thing to be aware of. All right, let's move on to making a more fluty patch. And the nice thing, the default patch already kind of starts us off where we want. So let's go off to default again. Let's turn down the reverb. Turn up the patch volume. And we don't have to change too much, but in this case, because we're using DC noise or DC on the generator with a little bit of noise, the envelope here actually controls a lot of it. So. That's kind of the shape we want. With the filter up a little, then we're adding a little more noise component to it, so it sounds a little brighter, a little breathier. Yeah, so you see where we're going with that. And now let's play with the feedback filter a little bit. We get a little bit of the overblown sound. Let's mess with the high pass. Play with this saturation a little. And then the harmonics. If you add a bunch of the high pass into it, then it starts to sound overblown. Let's go into tuning and get that just right. We want it to be a little overblown. Let's change the harmonics. And then let's change the tuning. Try with a different polarity. Oh yeah. And there we go. There's that ocarina that I'm kind of going for. Let's call this patch Fluty Twink, right? All right, cool. So let's change the tuning a little. Turn off quantization here. That is a very ocarina-esque patch. Almost hovering around pan flute, huh? There we go. That's stable. Yeah, that sounds good. I like that. Let's mess with the saturation a little. See how, like I said, every little thing changes the tuning? Like I said, do the master tuning at the end. There we go. It sounds very triangular, doesn't it? Guess we can go in here and let's look at the scope and see how triangular that is. Oh, it's very siny actually. Let's change the oh, it is kind of triangular, huh? We can add a little bit of glide to that. Oh, we had to turn the glide on. Whoops. Maybe a little too much glide. It's very subtle. Let's add my favorite thing, reverb. Yeah, so I like that. I think that sounds absolutely wonderful. So let's just go with that. Those are going to be the patches that I kind of wanted to work on this. I don't want this to be like a super long video, but as you can see, very complicated synth, kind of frustrating to deal with because every little change changes something else. Tuning is all over the place depending on how you're using the resonator and exciter and all that. So it's complicated, but once you get a great sound out of it, it's very fantasy video game-esque, isn't it? And it's exactly what I'm looking for. And then the string patches, I have some in here that I was working on earlier, so let's go out of the scope. So like, yeah, obviously. Yeah, so just absurdly good. Just so much things you can do with it. I mean, of course, it's going to be around the strings and fluty instruments more than anything. But yeah, you can even get some square waves out of this if you really wanted to. So it's not going to be your only synth that you have. I highly recommend you use many other synths for traditional synthesis styles. But if you want something that is a physical modeling in a box that has a nice hands-on control for practically everything, then this is it. Again, it is very complicated to use. It is a little frustrating, but once you get some cool sounds out of it, it's something you really can't replicate on other synths unless you're using samples or another physical modeling synth on your computer. So yeah, there's that. And then the reverb is some of the best out there. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel and you like my content, go ahead and subscribe. I will see you next time. Bye.